Hello guys and welcome back to Braysh Gaming today. In this video today we're going to be talking about the new grading companies that have been popping up, what to look out for and whether they're the right choice for you. Hello guys and welcome back to the channel today. Thank you for joining me. Grading your TCG cards has been a part of the hobby for a long time. You've got big players like PSA, Beckett, CGC as well. But just lately there's been a big influx of new companies popping up, new grading companies all over the place. But why is that? PSA is one of the most popular grading companies in the world, possibly the most, as I said, alongside Beckett and CGC. But in March 2021, they had to stop taking submissions pretty much altogether just because of the huge popularity of Pokemon cards and sports cards mainly in 2020. The big boom in 2020, lockdown and things, various reasons. We won't go into that today as to why people are grading more cards than ever. But yeah, there's just a huge demand for grading cards at the minute. It was clear PSA was struggling to keep up with demand. I think they got loads of new staff involved, but the turnaround time was mainly kind of like 8 to 10 months. I know that I've submitted some last year and I'm still waiting. PSA have also doubled their price for grading, which for some people will think, well, that's a bit crazy. I see it as a positive thing. I think if people don't or think twice about grading their lesser cards, sport cards and Pokemon cards, of course, I think, there's going to be less of an influx for cards. I don't mind paying possibly double what I was paying before. I think it was like $8 before. I think it's around $16 now. I don't mind paying that for like a really good card to get graded if it's going to come back in a reasonable time frame. But with PSA leaving a lot of collectors short without the chance to kind of go and grade their cards at a minute, obviously, as I said, submissions have been closed for a few months now. People have spotted a gap in the market. That's why we're seeing so many stores pop up at the minute. There is a clear sort of gap that PSA has left, if you like. And yeah, people are capitalizing on the fact that loads of people have cards, people want them graded, and there's nowhere to go. And on the face of it, it looks quite good. These companies, they have quick turnaround times. They've got loads of availability at the minute, reasonable prices. So yeah, cards graded and back within a couple of weeks sounds like a really good idea. If it was PSA, maybe. But for me personally, there are some things you're going to need to research yourselves before submitting your card to one of these new companies. And I should say before we start properly kind of making a few points here, guys, I am not endorsing or condoning any particular grading service. If there's one that you like the look of, by all means go and do your research. And this video here is basically to say this is the sort of things you should be looking out for. These are the questions you should be asking when you're grading your cards. So firstly, you need to decide what you want from grading your card. Do you want an experienced industry professional giving a consistent and fair grade on your card? Do you want to add value to your card? Or maybe you just want it to look really good on display or something like that. Or maybe you just want it encapsulated to protect it. So recently I ran a poll on Twitter, as you can see. Quite a lot of response to that. Some people want a few different things, but mainly credentials is the winner there. So let's consider my first point. Do you want an industry professional giving a fair grade on your card? Do you want consistency with their grading? What does that even mean, okay? It means what credentials do the people grading your cards have that maybe you and I don't? What makes their opinion a valid one on that card? I've personally graded hundreds of cards. I've multiple times for years, been to Japan, hunted around card shops, meticulously inspected each one to make sure that it's going to meet the PSA criteria and get maybe a 10 or a 9. I know exactly what I'm looking for. Is that enough criteria to grade a card? In reality, there's no exam, there's no certification that someone can get to say this person is certified to grade a Pokemon card. It just doesn't exist. So with that aside, when you've chosen a new company to go and grade your card with, just make sure you're asking the right questions. What credentials do you have? What experience do you have? To have a fair and sort of valid opinion on my card. If you're happy with that answer, then that's absolutely fine, fantastic. But just make sure you're asking the right questions. The second part to that point was, is the grading consistent? Does the company you are using, the company you've chosen, have a consistent methodology for grading their cards? Just check, what is that methodology? Are you, as the consumer, happy with the way they are doing it, the system they have in place to grade your card? In my opinion, all grading companies should be able to tell you exactly how they're going to grade your card, what they'll be looking for, and how they're going to be evaluated. To be honest, if they couldn't tell you how they grade your card, I would run a mile. I'd be gone. I'd be down the street. A side note to this is a reason why people love Beckett and CGC. It actually says on the card where it's lost marks. It's very frustrating sometimes when you get your PSA card back, which was a nailed on 10, and it comes back as a 9, and you're like, well, when did that lose points? And yeah, it's good that I think Beckett and CGC, they show you where it's lost points: surface, centering, cornering, that sort of thing. Yeah, this isn't really about those big companies at the minute. The next point is, do you want the grade to add value to your card? Do you want to add value to your card? That's the second point we'll make it today. I've no doubt in my mind that a 10 out of 10 grade from one of these new companies will add value to the card. But to be honest, if you specifically want a value adding in the grade, then perhaps a new company isn't the right way to go. Value adding comes more so from the reputation of the company doing the grading, like PSA. And whilst I'm not saying that these new companies can't grade as consistently or as efficiently as PSA, I'm just saying that, you know, in terms of sort of adding a value to a card, it's something that can only be built over time with sort of years of experience, consistency and trust behind it. Right now, that's just not something that you can start up with. There was a Wired article recently that came up in conversation the other day. I think one of the new companies is called PokeGrade, and I think they had an interview with the guy from PokeGrade here in the UK. And the guy being interviewed, he kind of mentioned how difficult it was to break the grip of PSA, Beckett and CGC that they have on the market. This isn't an indictment on them as a new company, not doing as good a job as the big players, but in my opinion, it's just a statement of your grade just isn't going to add the same value to my card. And let's be honest, I'm in the same boat. I think one of the main reasons, even though a lot of people won't say it, is when you grade your card, you want to add value to it. Whether you're going to sell it on or not, I think you want that value added on, definitely. And that's where I think a newer company would find it harder to compete. As I said, I think just the consistency and the trust built over years that PSA, Beckett, CGC have had, especially PSA. And that's where sort of the value adds on. If you think grading company or graded card, you think PSA at the minute. As I said, I won't hide the fact that when I grade my cards, I want to add as much value as possible to them. That's just my personal choice, and that's why I probably wouldn't choose a newer company. That choice is right for me, okay? I mean, it's just a shame. As I said, it's not an indictment on these new companies doing the grading. They could have the exact same person do the grading as PSA. They could use the same machineries. They could put it in the same case, for God's sake. But as soon as they put their own label on it instead of a PSA label, the value between the two is just huge at the minute, what that means for the card. So that's just my personal choice. I even saw an eBay listing for one of these new graded cards, and I think it was like a 7 out of 10, and the listing said could be a PSA 8, and that just tells you everything you need to know about the sort of value that maybe PSA would hold over these other companies at the minute. And I think that's the only reason why some would struggle, is because people want to add the value to their cards rather than get it graded. The last 2 points I made were about it looking great on display, and maybe you just want to encapsulate, still can't say it, encapsulated. But they're similar questions really. And if you are just looking for it to be encapsulated, protected, or maybe just want it to look really good, some of these new companies are doing really nice slabs at the minute. They're doing a great job, and yeah, definitely that could be the right choice for you. And that's not to say these new companies are going to be compromising quality, consistency, their credentials over grading these cards. They might be the whole package. That is your choice to make. And as I said, I'm not here to weigh up the competition or decide which company is best. I'm just making the point to you as a consumer to decide what you want from grading your card and do your research. Ask your questions, make your own decision accordingly. Just know what you're kind of looking for. Just have an idea of what you're asking, and yeah, just make sure you're happy with the process and the consistency of it. There's no right or wrong answer, and I'm not here to turn you away from a new company when it comes to grading. Some of them are doing fantastic jobs, as good as PSA, Beckett, CGC. They're meeting all the criteria. You know, they're doing a fantastic job consistently grading the cards. They're encapsulating them really well. But when it comes to adding value, it's just not something that can be done quickly, sadly. So yes, guys, I hope that gives you a little kind of insight, let's say, into kind of knowing what to look for when you're going for one of these new companies. As I said, certainly not trying to dissuade you from going for one of these companies. I'm just saying, if you do want to go with a new grading company, ask the questions so that you get what you want from your grade. That's all I'm saying. And that is it, guys. Thank you very much for watching today. I hope you found the video informative. If you do, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys again soon.